Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diaries podcast, that's showing the human stories behind indie game development. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one, except the fact that it's a very special one. This episode is with Doot, the developer the co-developer of Minami Lane, a beautiful cozy game that came out on the 28th of February. I recommend that you check the description of the episode so that you can check out the game and also follow the developer as usual. But before we dive into this beautiful episode that's about to come up, which is super cozy and super relaxed, I want to shout out to my amazing Patreons who are Feinoko, Zagini, Fishbum Dev, and Peleg. You guys are incredible, and I love having your support every single month. If you two listeners want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/theindiediarist and check out my tiers, which start from as little as £1.25 per month, which is way less than the price of a brownie in central London. So you will find a lot of the benefits listed there, such as exclusive access to episodes in advance, video content, behind-the-scenes announcement, and a lot more. So other than that, check out patreon.com/theindiediarist, and without further ado, hope you enjoyed this episode. Indie Diary number 41, Doot. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast, that's showing the human stories behind indie game development. This is your loyal Indie Diarist and host. But yeah, today with me is an incredibly special guest. And if you follow the show on social media, you might have seen their game already because I've shared everything I could about it. I've got the developer of Minami Lane here, which is a beautiful cozy game that came out just last month, I think. But I'll hand it over to you, Dorian or Doot. Just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you're based, and most importantly, what Minami Lane is from your perspective.
Thanks a lot, Ant. So I'm Doot. I'm French. You can hear it with my accent. And I'm an indie dev since less than a year ago. Before that, I had an entirely different job. And then I changed to programming in the video game industry. And then I went full indie in April or May last year, something like that. The day I started going full indie dev was the day of the release of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So it's easy to mark and to find on a calendar. Mm-hmm. As I said, I'm French. I'm based in France. I live with Blibloop, my partner who was the artist on Minami Lane. And we live in the south, on the coast of France, the west coast of France, near the sea. And I guess that's it about me. And Minami Lane is my second game as a solo dev. The first one was Froggy's Battle, made in only a few months. It's a small roguelike with a frog on a skateboard. Mm-hmm. And the second one, we made it together with Blibloop and also a music composer and sound designer, Zaku. And we made it in a few months too. We wanted to do it in 3 months actually, but we made it in 6 because game dev is always longer than expected, of course. Minami Lane, as you said, it released last month. It released on the 28th of February. It's a cozy really little tiny management game. You can finish it in under 3-4 hours, something like that. There are only a few missions and a sandbox mode. And it's cute. I guess that's the main thing about the game. It's cute.
It's very cute. Yeah. Right. Well, I guess I always like to open these episodes with a little icebreaker because I want to have some fun in the beginning. So I want to ask you a question that I hope will be fun for you. If you could be any game's character for a day, who would you be and why?
Wow, I heard this question in a previous interview that you did, and I didn't prepare for it, so I don't know. Wait, this is harder than it sounds. I don't know, maybe just a villager in Minami Lane because they just eat and they just do fun stuff.
Just exist like and they do fun stuff, yeah.
So maybe just that, just a villager here.
Yeah, they just go and get their boba tea, I think, and all of the other bits that you can do in the game, which is indeed, as we were saying, very cozy and very cute. I played it for about 2 to 3 hours or something. I just explored the first few missions and such. I'm definitely going to go back to it, but I had a lot of fun. It's just so relaxing, and I think you nailed the tone and the style really well, but we'll get to that. I always like to start from the beginning with these interviews, so and these chats. So what I want to ask you is actually to think back to your childhood, if you want, and what is your earliest or fondest memory that involves video games?
Well, earliest is on the PC of my father. I think we played the demos, the CD that we found. I don't know where we found those, but we had the demo for Sonic the Hedgehog,
All
and we
right.
had the
Okay.
demo of Spirou also. I don't know the name in English, but it's a character from comics, I guess, bande dessinée in French. Sorry, I'm losing my English, but
Okay, that's fine.
so I really remember Sonic, and what's fun is that I only played the demo where you had only the first level, and then I never played a Sonic game until really long for a long time. And so when I played Sonic Mania, I think that's the first Sonic games that I played since my childhood. I was like, wow, this is so great! I have so many memories of something similar to this, but not this exactly. And yeah, so that might be my first memory is this. And my fondest one, still an early one, I think it's Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
Yeah, such a good game, and I think it was at a perfect moment in my life also, where I was still a child and still completely carefree, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
Well, I
great
like
memory.
what you just said about being carefree and whatnot. But you'd be surprised how many people tell me that Sonic was one of their first games.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
that's I think I've heard it just recently again. But yeah, so well, of course you were playing a lot of lovely games like Sonic and Ocarina of Time growing up. But what do you think? You mentioned being carefree when you were playing Ocarina of Time and whatnot. Do you think that kind of experience had an influence on the kind of games that you're doing right now?
I think a lot of things have an influence on what I'm doing right now and on my life in general. But games sure do. I tend to play a lot of different games, so I'm not sure there is a one specific genre that pushed me toward making cute, cozy games. But maybe it's exactly that. It's the fact that I'm playing a lot of things, so I want to like not do the main thing that everyone does, and not do, for example, FPS games or racing games or action games and stuff like that. And I think the cozy, wholesome games market is really interesting. Even if now it's way more mainstream, which is good, there are still a lot of things to explore there. Like making a game that is both relaxing yet interesting, yet calming and yet engaging. It's really hard to find the balance in all of that. And so, as a game developer and as a game designer, it's really interesting to do those kind of games.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine what you say. It's a really tricky balance in terms of design and actually now that I know that you mentioned, this is probably the first game that you and your partner developed together. So when did you two realize that you wanted to make a game together? Like, was there some sort of sudden realization after Froggy Battle?
It's actually not really the first game we make together, because
That was going to be one of my next questions. So perfect. Yeah, you can.
we made a lot of game jams before.
Right. Okay.
We did like five game jams before together, and at least 3 of those were only us two on the games. So we already did that, even if it's really smaller games. And the thing is that every time we did a game jam together, especially on the last one, and I'm going to talk a bit more about this one because it's interesting. Bleep Bloop, so Dorian, we have the same name. I'm Dorian and she's Dorian too. So, yeah, sorry, it might be confusing, but so she was like repeating, oh, look at what we did in 3 days. Think about what we could do in 3 months. And she always said that, and I was like, yeah, maybe someday we'll see, because it was not the right time to just take 3 months and do a game. But then at the end of Froggy's Battle, well, it was actually exactly the right time, because I did my first game. I learned a lot, so I was a bit more confident in that I could do a game. And she has another activity. Her main job is an online shop with pins and illustrations and stickers. And she was a bit in a need of a break from that, because her shop is quite successful, but then that means that she has a lot of packaging to do and a lot of administrative work.
Overwhelming, yeah, of course.
And yeah, especially this summer, well, last summer, she had a lot of that to do. So she wanted to take a break, and especially she wanted to go back to drawing more and to learn a new art style, for example. And that's exactly what she did on Minami Lane. the game is in an isometric art style because she wanted to learn that art style and she wanted to practice this. So for her it was the perfect timing, for me too, and that's why we just went together and did it.
Amazing, yeah. Well, and it must have been an interesting experience to move from doing games in just like 3 days to moving a game for 6 months straight and working together that closely. So yeah, would you say there was like a particular challenge that not necessarily about working together, but like just development challenge that has left a mark on you while working on Minami Lane or your first game even? Something that you may want to share with other developers.
Well, there are so many challenges on making a game. So wait, I'm trying to pick one out. The biggest one was working together. Even if we are a couple and we live together and we share a lot of things, working together is another challenge, I guess. So the most important thing that we set up really early at the beginning was to have proper ways of communicating and sharing what we felt every day. So every morning we took the time to go for a walk and say, okay, today I feel like that, and I think that this decision that we took yesterday, I'm not sure about it, and just share our emotions and our feelings and our ideas about what we were doing currently. And we also had a really precise organization of tasks, so that when one of us was supposed to do something that the other needed, it was okay, and it was not going to put us under I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like stress or
Yes,
conflict.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So this was the biggest challenge, and because the idea was not to not clash. It's quite impossible to never have an issue when you work with someone.
Yeah,
the idea was more to make it so when it happens, we could break it apart and we could just resolve it as quick as possible. So it happened, and the thing that is that the Dorian and I don't have exactly the same way of designing and of thinking about how to make a game. So of course, sometimes it's easy and it brings to interesting stuff, and sometimes it's harder and it's hard to
find like
agree
a compromise.
on things.
Yeah.
But I think the way we set up our communications was really
Nice.
It was nice actually, and it helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like it sounds like you guys nailed it. It's and also seeing how beautiful Minami Lane is. I mean, I would say it was a good success. But I'll get to that pretty shortly. But why did you choose to create Minami Lane in the first place? Like, what inspired it?
So, Minami Lane is mostly the creative direction is mostly comes from Blibloop, because I'm not really good at that. Meaning, like a lot of devs, they love the early stages of making a game, the conception phase, because you have a lot of freedom and you can just think about ideas and just put them on prototypes and on paper, and it's really open. And the more the game progresses, the more it closes, and the more it's hard because you have to remove stuff, to choose between one option and the other, and stuff like that. And I'm quite the opposite. I love when we reach the end of a game, because I love having clear and precise stuff to choose from. Like, okay, if we do that, we won't have the time to do that, so we have to prioritize between this and this. And the more you progress in the game's development, the more you have feedback on it, the more you can do playtests, and the more everything sort of comes together. But at the beginning, it's really open, and I'm not really at ease when it's too open on the creative side. So on this one, we agreed that she was the one who would take the lead on creative direction. So she did. And where did the idea come from? It's a bit... she wanted to work on isometric art style, like we said. She loves management games. and we both love cozy games and wholesome games. So it started like that, and then I remember that we took a lot of walks in the forest, and she had ideas or I had ideas, and then we were like, okay, how can we make this smaller? And I was smaller, even smaller, because we knew that we wanted to do the game in only a few months. So for this specific idea, it was we were talking a lot about okay, can we make a city management game or maybe a village management game, maybe only with a few buildings? No, still smaller. And then she said, oh, what if it was a street, only one street? And I was like, oh yes, that's good, that's perfect. Beautiful, yeah. Because it's not only small and doable, but I think the street management game is something that everyone can understand just in a few words and figure something, like imagine something in their head. So I think it's a really good pitch, and I'm glad we chose this one.
It's a really good pitch, really. It's just unique in a lot of ways, and I think it's an interesting little approach that you had. And honestly, I feel like it's having played it, I know it turned out pretty well. And how is actually the game going from what you can share? But I don't know that you like sharing, progress and revenue on your socials. So it seems like it's going pretty well. So would you say it was a success?
Yes, big yes. We are currently at I'm just trying to find the 45,000 copies sold. So that's really impressive. And so when we started the game, that's one thing also that is really important when you work on a game, is to put down some objectives and some goals when you start doing something. Because if it's too vague, if the goal is just make a good game or sell a lot of copies, some decisions are going to be hard to make. And so we put down our goals, and on the numbers of copies that we expected to sell, it was around 100 to 1,000. So at the beginning of the game, we expected that. And then the game kind of blew up because of Wholesome Games sharing a lot of stuff about our game, and then so we had a lot of wish lists, and even just the day before the release, we had a lot of wish lists, and the expectations that we had were of course higher than at the beginning of the project, but still we thought that okay, maybe we are going to sell, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 during the first month,
wow.
Because we were not really confident in what we had. It's really hard to know if your game is good when you haven't released it yet. So maybe a few thousand of copies, and then first day 10,000, and then next day more, and it's really way more than what we expected.
Well, I'm really happy for you guys, because the game deserves it, and it does show that you put a lot of thought into it. Also, I think I like what you said earlier about the late stages of the game. Sounds like you like the refining phase, when you're just cutting down on the unneeded stuff and you see it come into shape and become something more condensed and more tight, which is really interesting. And you guys did an excellent job with it. I guess there's an interesting question I could ask here. If you could go back in time, is there anything you would change about the development of Minami Lane? Anything you would do differently?
It's hard to think about that right now, because we are still a bit tired, I guess, or a bit too close to the release, because and we haven't had the time to really reflect and rest also after the release of Minami Lane. There are always so many things to do just after you release the game. So I'm not sure. I think I would have more interesting answers to that in a few months, but I still have one right now. I think as I told you, we put down some objectives and goals toward the beginning of the game that we wanted to do with the game. And then, 6 months is both short and quite long. And I think both of us, our objectives kind of a bit shifted towards something else. And we should have talked a bit more about that during, at the middle of the development. We could have a big discussion on that. And okay, are you still okay with what we said at the beginning of the project, or should we shift a bit the objectives? And we didn't do that, and I think it led to a bit of confusion near the end of the project.
Okay. Well, but it's a learning that you'll take forward into your next game, I'm pretty sure. So, of course, it's early to think about that, but you'll get to it at some point. I'm pretty sure you this one was a success. So I'm only looking forward to the next one. So this would have been a very nice question to ask your girlfriend as well. But I'm going to ask it to you for this one time. Why are you a game developer? What is it that drives you forward? It's my favorite question to ask because everybody has a different question, different answer. Sorry.
Hard to answer that. It's quite hard.
Yeah. It's the core of the show, really.
Yes, but I'm not prepared.
It's okay.
I never asked this to myself, and it feels like ever since I'm really young, I wanted to do that, and I took a lot of turns in my career and a path that is not the easiest one to become a game developer, I guess. But I don't know. Since I was in early middle school, I wanted to to do that. So I just love video games. I love to think about how you could do different games. I love just learning about new stuff and keeping up with the game industry and stuff like that. So, I'm just trying to think about it a bit more. But
I think that's a good answer already. If
to say here, it's just like I don't know. It's
yeah. If that's what came to you, and I guess it's right. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything any deeper than it makes sense for you. It's always been something that you wanted to do, and it just fits you as a person, as with your creative aspirations and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fine. And what would you say is the opposite of that? Like, what is your biggest struggle as an indie developer?
Oh, the thing is that being an indie dev means that you have a lot of different things to do and a lot of different way that you could fail, I guess. And it's like 100 jobs at once. So you have to be good at communication, you have to be good at time management, you have to be good at development, programming, art stuff. And so of course there are some parts of the job that you don't like. I guess it's the same with every job, but with such a job that has so many jobs in it, it's sure that, some parts are going to be harder, and in some parts you're going to be not as good as in other aspects of the job. So I guess that's the biggest one. And for me, I think communicating and social media is the hardest one. And it's funny because a lot of other devs always tell me that I'm really good at that and that it feels natural to me.
You are, yeah.
But it's not. It's really hard for me, and especially the black box aspect of social media, where you just try things and you never know if it's gonna work, and you never know why it works or why it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's both addictive, it's painful, it's hard. It's hard, and it's a big part of being an indie dev. I think I counted on Froggy's Battle. I didn't do it for the next one, but on Froggy's Battle, I spent a quarter of my working hours on social medias for communication. So it's a huge part of the job, and it's not a really rewarding one. So.
Well, I'd say a lot of people struggle with social media and communications and marketing in indie game development because, you know, a lot of indie developers tend to be very introverted. And as someone who works in social media and is introverted, I can get that. So I totally understand. But no, you do an excellent job. So keep doing what you're doing because it works, I would say. So yeah, amazing. And well, I guess we're about to wrap up now. We don't have many questions left, but I've got just a couple for you, and I hope they're going to be fun for you to answer. So the first one is, imagine writing a letter to yourself, but the person who was the child who was playing Sonic, or the person who was playing Ocarina of Time. What would you say?
Wow, that's a deep one, really emotional. It's hard because I guess writing to my past self would influence my past self, you know?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want that because I had the life that I guess I wanted to have, even if I had a lot of hard moments, I guess. But even those, I wouldn't want to skip those. I guess I'm the person I'm today because I lived all of that. So I'm not even sure if I had the opportunity to write something to my past self. I'm not sure I would do it. So, or just something nice, like just, go on, keep doing what you do. It's great. Then you'll become what you want to become one day. And that's it, I guess. No advice, no specific things.
No, that's perfect.
Or something like that.
It's very self-conscious, the fact that you say that you might influence your former self by sending them a letter, so you don't want to do that. So yeah, no, that's a great way to approach it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Anything you're going to do is going to turn out fine in the end. So yeah, that's a great learning for anyone, I guess. And lastly, something that might be a little bit of a fun exercise for you: if you had unlimited budget and time, what game would you make?
Well, I'm always on a limited budget and time, so, so it's
perfect.
A bit, unlimited. I will still make small games. I would, but instead of making just the next one, I would make like 100 small games. I don't know, but I would not make a big RPG, MMO, or stuff like that. I would just do one small game and the next one and the next one. I just love making small games. I love playing small games, and I think, especially since I'm still a beginner, I can learn a lot with making a lot of different games in different genres. So I'm going to keep doing that. And if I had a huge budget, I would still do that.
Well, and no one's going to take that away from you, because it's clearly the right path. It's something that you're passionate about. And so what can I say? If not, it's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Well, thank you so much, Doot, or Dorian. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. It's been such a lovely episode. Cozy, as I was thinking it would be, and also very introspective, which I always love. I guess it's time for some parting words. So where can other people find you? And if they do, what is the best way to support you?
They can find me on any social media, except I'm not really active on TikTok right now because it takes a lot of time to be active there. So I guess the easiest way is to find my linktree.doot or Doot, I don't know, but maybe we can put the link in the description of the podcast. Perfect. And just come and say hi. And also I can answer a lot of questions. I love when people come and ask me questions on anything, anywhere, Discord or any social media. Just come and say hi.
Perfect. And yes, as you mentioned, of course, I will put all these links in the description of the episode so people can come and find you and possibly reach out. And of course, I will put a link to Minami Lane in the description too, so that people can see how beautiful it is. Well, Doot, thank you so much for being part of the show. It's been amazing. It's been a lovely episode, and we had a beautiful chat. What can I say if not to wishing you the best of luck with Minami Lane, of course, and the rest of the success that it's inevitably going to have, but also with your next game with your girlfriend. So yeah, I'm sure you guys are going to do great things. And yeah.
Thanks a lot.
And that, my friends, is a wrap on another great episode of the Indie Diaries podcast. And I don't say great because it had me, but because it had Doot. Such an amazing guest. Thank you, sir, for wanting to be on the show. Send my regards to your partner as well. You guys are an amazing couple and you're doing great things together. So I'm sure that whatever comes after Minami Lane will be incredible. So yeah, if you guys, listeners, enjoyed the show and enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. You can find it on every major podcasting platform. You can leave a rating. 5 stars always helps. And you can also follow the show on social media by simply looking for @The Indie Diarist pretty much everywhere. Twitter, even Instagram, although I'm not very active there. And Threads too, and of course even YouTube as of January this year. So other than that, I guess I will speak to you in the next episode. But before I get to that, make sure to go to theindiediarist.com and check out all the links for that relate to the show, so that you can support it in any way you find useful and any way you can. If you are an indie game developer yourself, of course, as usual, my invite goes out to you. If you would like to speak, if you would like to tell me your story, just reach out on social media or by email at anthony@theindiediarist.com, and I would love to have a chat with you. Until next time, guys.